Technology plays an extremely important role in today's knowledge economy. If Africa must compete, she has to invest in development of her citizens going forward. My guest will compare development in other parts of the world with Africa. Our Tech Tips today is focused on the need to be careful when tracking your lost device. And our mobile app of the week makes social media management easier. This is Tech Trends, and I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
The U.S. Justice Department has successfully assessed data stored on an encrypted iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino shooters and asked the court to withdraw an order compelling Apple to assist. The abrupt end to a confrontation that had transfixed the tech industry was a victory for Apple, which vehemently opposed the court order obtained by the Justice Department that would have required it to write a new software to get into the iPhone used by one of the shooters, Rizwan Farouk. But the larger fight over law enforcement access to encrypted information is by no means over. The technology industry is adamant that anything that helps authorities bypass the security features of tech products will undermine security for everyone. Government officials are equally insistent that all manner of criminal investigations will be crippled without access to phone data. U.S. officials said that they were hopeful they would be able to unlock the iPhone without help from Apple. In a two-page court filing on Monday, the Justice Department said the government no longer requires Apple's assistance. Leading researchers and engineers in the optics communication industry have gathered at the OFC conference in California, the largest conference for optics communications. One of the broadly talked about topics include the threat of a possible capacity crunch. As capacity crunch is becoming an imminent issue with increasing demand for web-based and mobile devices, cables and optic fibers that transfer data will reach a limit, but light could be the answer to future problems. According to a recent report from Cisco in 2015, global mobile data traffic grew by 74% and 563 million mobile devices and connections were added. Some researchers say the current growth in data traffic could result in capacity issues and energy consumption leading to higher internet and mobile phone bills. Data centers, large networks of computer servers that transport data, are facing a potential dilemma of keeping up with consumer demand for data to run their devices like smartphones and tablets. Some scientists say one of the ways to prevent a capacity crunch is to create a transition from electricity to light in order to transfer data. Attending this year's OFC conference is Japanese telecommunications company Nippon Telegraph and Telephone, which is actively looking ahead into the future for a solution to keep up with the global demand of data. Mobile data traffic in Japan alone is estimated to grow by 1,000 times the 2010 levels by 2025.
See a very high demand for the data center interconnection between data centers. This is due to the massive growth of the smartphone traffic and some other new emerging service like Netflix type of stuffs, and everybody wanted to connect data between data centers with very high speed.
Telecommunications sectors are struggling to keep up with consumer demands due to the surge of streaming services and internet TV. Looking ahead, data centers will be required to handle exponential growth in data, which can't be done using existing technologies. With this challenge also comes a huge increase in electricity consumption to keep these data centers running, as well as an increase in service costs on the consumer end. Platforms like the OFC conference help light a way out of the impending need for data in the world of communication.
If we can use silicon photonics technologies, we can integrate all the kind of different components in a single integrated chip. That brings us very small and highly cost-effective and with lower power consumption optics. That's the main intention why we are seriously thinking to use silicon photonics.
The researchers at OFC conference are going ahead of the curve by inventing core technologies that will bring innovations to the future world of communication. Microsoft Chief Executive Officer Satya Nadella kicked off the company's Build Developer Conference with a keynote address in which he said computers and people together would ultimately move society forward.
Ultimately, it's not going to be about man versus machine. It is going to be about man with machines. Each of us excel at very different things. The fact that we have creativity, empathy, emotion, and judgment that can then be mixed with fast computation, the ability to reason over large amounts of data and do pattern recognition fast. It's that bringing together that I think is going to help us move our society forward.
Executive Terry Myerson announced at the gathering that the latest version of the Windows operating system has 270 million active users 8 months after launch. The number represents a solid start for Windows 10 after the tepid reaction to its predecessor, Windows 8. Getting its Windows strategy right is a key part of Microsoft's plans to stay relevant in a mobile-centric world where rivals like Amazon.com, Apple, and Alphabet's Google carry more clout with many consumers and developers. One reason for the rapid take-up is that Windows 10, released in July, is free for individual consumers who download it during its first year. Enterprise customers must pay for Windows 10. An anniversary upgrade to be released this summer will also be free for users already running Windows 10. The giveaway is effectively an admission by Microsoft that few individuals are willing to pay for software and represents a shift to a strategy embraced by most tech startups of attracting as many users as possible and nailing down how to make money later. Microsoft laid out its business case last year. The more consumer devices run on Windows, the more potential targets it gains for advertising sales and for its own paid-for applications and services. Myerson said before launch he was aiming for 1 billion devices running Windows 10 within a few years. Microsoft still dominates the market for personal computer software, but its share of smartphones, where many people now do the bulk of their computing, is little. Technology research firm IDC is forecasting that smartphones running Windows will account for only 1.6% of the global market this year, compared to 83% running Google's Android system and 15% running Apple's iOS.